Hello, everyone, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. Today we're going to chat a little bit. I hope you stick with me on this one. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I wanted to just toss this out here. Different conversations that I've had over the last week or so about what is happening, what is going on, what people are seeing, as far as what's happening in our world, and firsthand experience for quite a bit of it, and so how this could potentially impact us moving forward. It is harvest season. This is the busiest time of year, isn't it? I mean, if you garden, you are harvesting everything from your garden. You're trying to figure out how to get it all put up. On top of that, we've got hurricanes coming through, and we've got major tropical storms coming through. And so people have that pressure on top of it. Areas have seen extreme drought. Areas have seen extreme rain. So we're finding ourselves dealing with a lot of different things. You know me, I don't do politics. I will not debate. I will not debate on this channel, okay? So I have no stance that I'm sharing, and I don't necessarily want to hear yours, okay? But there's climate change that they're definitely much more verbose about now. There's all kinds of things happening weather related. There is extreme rain in some areas. There's extreme drought in others. They're saying that, where there was not significant heat in history is going to be very hot now and moving forward. They've had record temperatures in Oregon that, nobody expected, nobody knew. People died from the heat. You can get hypothermia from both the heat and the cold. You can. So these are all things that we need to consider and how we can make ourselves more comfortable. We had a community member who I simply adore that had to abandon her living quarters and go across country to live with a family member because the heat was so bad, and it would be weeks, not to mention excessive amount of money to fix her central air. So she had to go across country to her brother's to stay because that's the nearest place that she had, okay? And that is terrifying, number one, okay? It made her ill being so hot. I mean, 103 degrees inside of a house with no way to cool yourself down. That's no joke. That's no joke at all. We've got people that are dealing with fires. We've got people that are dealing with tropical storms blowing through. The Northeast is getting ready to get hit by a pretty significant storm. They're sending crews there to help out. But these are some other conversations that I had, and I'm not going to name all names, but I'm going to name some names, okay? So the first one was an email that I got from one of our community members, and what she does for a living is she works for an import company. And she was telling me the goods that they bring in are stores that we're all familiar with, okay? But the goods that they bring in, typically to have the stuff shipped in, is around $5,000. And we're talking those big containers, right? And now, if you can get your hands on one of those containers full of stuff, they're looking at $25,000 instead of $5,000 to ship it in. What is that going to do for the cost of goods here for the people that buy them? Okay, it's kind of a wake-up call of how much we rely on other countries and the goods and products from other companies and getting them here. So another one, some of you know, he is a friend of the channel, and it's John from the Trucker's Kitchen, and he is a truck driver, an over-the-road truck driver. He has a small trucking company, and he was explaining to me, I'm not going to debate this stuff, okay, guys, but he was explaining to me how large companies like Tyson and Walmart are mandating that any drivers that come to their facilities to pick things up, if they're going to come in the facilities, they need to prove that they've been vaccinated, okay? And he is not comfortable mandating something that is not federally mandated for his employees, and a lot of the small companies are not. Now, here's the hiccup with this thought, okay? Because these major companies, Tyson, Walmart, I mean, Tyson provides us with our chicken, it provides us with our beef, it provides us with, gosh knows how many other things. They are a major component in our food distribution, right? Or not even the distribution, in our food supply. The distribution is where it's going to start really being felt. A lot of these small companies are of the same mind. They don't want to mandate something that's not federally mandated for their employees. They're not comfortable with that. I understand that completely, okay? So they have to drop their bread and butter. Now you're going to say, okay, so they don't get to do those. No, 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 no. You don't understand. You don't understand how much this impacts us, right? And I was surprised when John told me. The fact of the matter is that 70% of what moves from these big companies is through small trucking companies that have 5 to 150 trucks on the road. Your major companies that some of you may or may not be familiar with, like Swift or, I'm going to draw a blank, or there's another one. Anyway, these major companies, okay, only do 30% of the shipping throughout the country. Mom and pop trucker companies, they're the ones making things move. They are the ones getting the items to the store for you to purchase. They are what keeps this country moving. And they are saying, no, we're not mandating this. We're not mandating this for our employees. I'm sorry. Now, whether you believe in it or not, seriously, I seriously don't care. So don't comment. I'll blow it out. Okay. But this is how it's impacting the distribution of food and goods throughout the country. If the small truckers are losing these contracts, these are huge contracts. This is their bread and butter, okay? These are huge contracts, and it covers a large part of the country, with 70% of the goods being moved through these small companies, and they're saying, no, I can't mandate this if it's not a federal law, right? Oh, my goodness. So how does it get moved then? How do we get it to where it needs to go? How do you get it to the rural communities if they need it, okay? I mean, I'm sure that downtown Chicago is not going to suffer as much as rural Michigan. Do you know what I mean? There's more people to service there. So I understand that. But then how do they get it there? And they're not getting as much there. So this is just another, hitch in the chain of distribution and why we're not seeing as many things on the shelves. The distribution chain as it is already broken. That has chinks in its armor all throughout it, okay? And we have seen that many times throughout the last year and a half plus. But you add this into the factor, and now they're cutting our legs out from underneath us. Something to think about. I don't want you to panic buy. Don't panic buy. Get the stuff that you know you need. Get the stuff that you can afford. Do what you can today to get it stocked up. Don't put yourself into debt tomorrow in order to make it happen. We've been saying this for a long time now. Build up your pantry. Build up all aspects of your pantry, okay? So that you don't have to worry about certain things. Winter is around the corner. Cold and flu season is around the corner. Kids are going back to school. You know those cute little adorable Petri dishes? I mean, every time school opens back up again, everybody gets sick, right? So you add that on top of the concerns with the pandemic, and we just have a hot mess. On top of distribution issues and shipping issues, we're looking at some really difficult times here. On top of price increases due to historical weather events. I mean, we've hit the trifecta here, folks, okay? And now we're going to put some icing and a candle and maybe a sparkler just for giggles on top of that. Our friend, he's a friend of the channel, and I talked to him about canning, and he's just an awesome all-around guy. Kind of tells it like it is, okay? Pinball preparedness. And he's put out some information a week ago Friday. So on the 13th, on Friday the 13th. How appropriate, right? Now, I happen to love Friday the 13th. Anyway, so he put out some information on Friday the 13th because that is when Homeland Security put out that information. If you don't subscribe to his channel, you may or may not know about this. But Homeland Security posted, and I'm sorry, it's behind me here, so I'm kind of reading, a summary of terrorism threat to the U.S. homeland. And they are saying that, I'm going to summarize it here, has issued a new national terrorism advisory system bulletin regarding the current heightened threat environment across the United States. If you haven't been catching the news, you know that we walked away from Afghanistan, okay, or are in the process of walking away from Afghanistan. The main reason why we were there to begin with was because of 9/11, because we wanted to try to tamp down those terrorist attacks after 9/11, okay? Now, a month before the anniversary, we are leaving. It's a no-win. I don't have the answer. You don't have the answer. They don't have the answer. It's just what's happening. Okay, so again, we're not debating it. But Homeland continues to face a diverse and challenging threat environment leading up to the following 20th anniversary of September 11. They are saying that everything that they are monitoring indicates that there's an increased chance of terrorist attacks now through the end of the year. And I think that's as far as they're looking, right? Through the remainder of 2021, radically or ethnically motivated violent extremists and anti-government, anti-authority violent extremists will remain a national threat priority for the United States. These extremists may seek to exploit the emergence of COVID-19 variants by viewing the potential reestablishment of public health restrictions across the United States as a rationale to conduct attacks. We don't have our pants down, but they're unbuttoned, and they know it, and they're plotting and they're planning, which they've always done, okay, to figure out a way to catch us when our pants are down. They're figuring out a way to catch us when we are at our weakest, when we are at I'll stick with weakest, okay? Most vulnerable. When we're at our most vulnerable. I'm not saying that your pantry is going to solve everything, okay? I am saying that you need to take a look at what you can do to make sure that you are stocked up, because when you factor in everything that I've talked about here, there are so many opportunities for disaster, so many opportunities for making our lives more difficult, for hurting us in a multitude of different ways. And having that one less thing to worry about, having to not worry about having food put back for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, not having to worry about your hygiene or your cleaning things, for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, a year. Build up to it. You're not going to accomplish it overnight, but don't stop building. And if you've got naysayers in your inner circle, stop talking to them about it, okay? If they don't want to hear, they're not going to hear you. Nobody is giving you a pulpit here to get up and say, okay, tell all my friends and family, save them. No. If they're not listening, they're not listening. Take care of yourself. Get yourself taken care of. If you're like me and some of our community that I know of, that have, that extended family, the kids and the grandkids that don't live too far away, but, really aren't into preparedness and really didn't get that wake-up call during 2020, then, we put a little bit back just in case, right? We put a little bit back just in case to help friends or neighbors that may not have gotten the wake-up call very soon, are just starting. We put a little bit extra back just in case it takes more than a year, right? Build your pantries, do your due, be diligent. What is it that Pinball says? Keep your head on a swivel. A lot of the prepper channels say it. Keep your head on a swivel. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who's watching you. Be aware of what's going on around you, okay? Don't live in fear. Oh my goodness, I am not telling you to live in fear, and I'm not fear-mongering. That is not my intent. I want you to be aware of things that are coming down the pike, the way that so many of you share with me the different things that are happening that they're aware of. One of us, me, let's just take me for example, cannot be aware. I don't work in the trucking industry. I don't work in the import industry. I don't work for Homeland Security. Thank you. Okay. But because there are people that at least have a finger, if not their entire bodies, into these areas, they share this with me so that I can share it with you. And we don't want to fearmonger. We just want you to make you aware so that you know that you need to keep doing your due, okay? It's very, very important to keep doing your due. Now, I said I was very uncomfortable with sharing my pantry, and I was, and I still kind of am. And there's, I'm still getting comments going, oh, I can't believe you do that. Why do preppers do that? Okay, I'm doing that because it helps you. It helps you. It helps you and other people see what can be done and give you ideas for what you need to do, okay? We are not all the same. We do not all require the same things. We do not all eat the same food. So you have to take a look at what you do, and maybe you want to see what I do to see if it triggers a memory, if it triggers something that, oh, you know what? Canned fruit would be good. Oh, you mean I don't have to home preserve everything? No, you do not, okay? You do you. Every Thursday in the community section and on our Facebook page and in our Facebook group, we put up something called, it doesn't have a name yet. It will. It's got a name coming. But we put up a post and we pick an item from the back of the pantry that, you may shuffle around for a while and go, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, right? Where'd it come from? And we say, what can you do to use this to make a meal? These are the kind of exercises, these are the kind of ideas that help us broaden our horizons, that help us plan for emergencies, okay? If you have a can of artichoke hearts that some kind soul gave you and you have no idea what to do with them, it's great to have this vast community who can say, oh, you know what? I make this with that, or I do that with that. This is how I turn it into a meal. Because that just opens the horizons, and something may trigger with you and you go, oh, that sounds really good. I'm going to try that. Otherwise, that thing would have sat in there until the postman came by for a food donation, That's not the idea of having food in our cabinets, guys. It has to be food that we use and that we eat. It has to be rotated. It has to be usable, okay? And while please donate, because the food banks, from what I'm seeing and hearing, are starting to dry up a little bit. There's less of the fresh fruits and vegetables and meats and more of the canned goods and the processed goods, okay? So you want to, definitely, if you can, donate. Once again, I'm not fear-mongering. That is not my intent here. My intent is to make you aware, to share with you what others have shared with me, so that we can all learn and build up our own personal insurance policies for whatever the future throws at us. You're not going to be prepared for everything. Nobody is. But you can be prepared for a lot. You can be prepared for what normally hits you. And then you can start preparing for the what ifs, okay? Weather is going to continue to be an issue for all of us, no matter where we are, no matter what country we're in, no matter what state we're in. We are going to see some drastic weather changes, whether it's man-made or a natural occurrence. It's changing. So you need to stay on top of what's happening. Do not ensconce yourself in the news. Do not drag yourself down. And if you feel yourself getting stressed, if you feel yourself getting panicked, walk away. Walk away for a minute, walk away for a few hours, walk away for a day, walk away for a week if you have to. But come back. Come back and just tiptoe and do it lightly, okay? It is not a sprint. It is a marathon, and you have to build it up and you have to keep doing it. So that is my message for today. I'm sorry I'm late getting it out because it is the busiest time of year and I hit a point of exhaustion. So I'm thankful that you waited for me, and I hope that this encourages you to continue doing what you're doing or to start doing it. If you haven't started doing it, please do. Canning and dehydrating and preserving is just, it is so much fun. But on top of being fun, it's functional and it's life-saving. It can be life-saving if done correctly, okay? So keep canning. Keep stocking up on the stuff from the store. Keep filling your freezers. Have a backup plan for if the power goes out. Start working on your backup plans. A lot of this stuff, you can just sit down with pen and paper. Start there, okay? Don't freak out. Start with some pen and paper and just figure out where you need to start. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Remember, any rude or debate-like comments will be deleted. And until next time, be safe.